welcome back. Welcome back. Actually, Placebo thought he was in last week's, but he wasn't because I canceled that one. And so he's actually been 3 weeks since the last time he's been in a podcast because I fucked up the recording last week and had all kinds of stuff on the screen. The audio was desynced, which is another reason I didn't just try to push forward. Our mouths would move, and then the audio would go. So anyway, I threw that away. And Brody said things. I don't remember what he said. I don't remember honestly, I don't even remember what we talked about. So
we talked about a lot.
Yeah.
Grace.
Very broad spectrum of topics.
Yeah, it was very important stuff, clearly, because I would have, remembered all.
Absolutely.
It's very life, society changing content. So I was going to tell Placebo a story, but I said I was going to wait for the podcast because it's a story about something that would happen only if you're single. So last night, and what inspired this was we were talking, I think, about we woke up in the middle of the night for something.
Yeah,
last night, I'm not telling your story. No, I'm not telling your story. Don't worry. I woke up and I don't remember what, but anyway, I was sitting there and I was trying to go back to sleep. I was like, I could tell I need to kind of like watch something on a video on my phone or something just to kind of get me back into the chill. And while I did it, I scratched my beard and there's a big old clump of something in my beard. Now I have since trimmed it, so it was like 3 times as thick earlier. But anyway, and I was expecting it to be sticky because usually if I get something in my beard and it stays there, it is like a really sticky and it like almost pulls the hair out when you get it out. I went and it pulled out real easy. And I was like, that's interesting. And I started going and because I was laying in bed, I was like, So I kept doing it until I got it all out. I did put it over on the nightstand because I was like, I'm not fucking getting up. I'll do it I'll throw it away in the morning. It was egg I had an egg sandwich and I bit into the egg and some of the yolk hit my beard, but my beard was so thick I couldn't feel it. So for the entire night, I had egg in my beard. Did not realize it until I woke up after like 3 hours of sleep and felt around on my chin. And so I was like, that's something that if you live with somebody else, they're like, babe, you got to get you got a little something here.
You got some schmutz.
Like that is something that only happens if you have a beard and you're single. Because like otherwise you would feel it. Like even if it was this thin, I think I would have felt the weight. It's only if you've got a big beard and you're single. So that was my story. I just wanted to tell my story. Do you have any similar stories, bro? Since you have a massive manly beard,
I can absolutely relate to that story. But most of the times, I fiddle with my beard as a nervous tick.
Okay.
And so usually after I eat, I feel it, and if there is something, I'll go wash it.
Yeah.
So
I do tend to like.
I'm also a very vain person, and I use Snapchat quite a bit, and so I'm constantly taking pictures of myself. And so if I do see something on my face, it doesn't.
That's something you both share,
But like eating a burger, especially like a bacon cheeseburger with a fried egg on top, just breakfast on a burger, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And you bite into that, and the egg yolk just all over.
Nothing like some egg jizz on your face. I know. I got it.
It's the worst feeling on the way home.
Yeah.
So I know exactly how you
slide that in.
Because like I can't. The napkins aren't doing it credit. I'm not gonna dip them in my soda and try. So yes, it's. Awful.
I've tried the dipping in I've never in soda. I have if I've ordered water. I have like poured the water on the napkin or dipped the napkin in the water and then like did a little impromptu cleansing session. I mean, obviously, Placebo, tell us about your story.
Oh man, it gets stuck all the time. It's right there.
Yeah.
It's all I can do to get it out. It's just such a thick, heavy beard I have.
Very masculine, very Viking.
Extremely, yeah. I ooze testosterone.
Well, you do.
They used you as a model for the show Vikings.
Yeah,
to shape
absolutely.
beards.
Maybe for Floki, but not for the other characters that were actually like manly.
Floki was.
So, this podcast is sponsored by Modelo. Go ahead. There you go. Yeah. There you go. It's not really, but we all happen to be drinking Modelo, so maybe one day.
Di Serono up there, would that count?
Maybe one day. Sure. This podcast is sponsored by Mexican beer and Mexican alcohol. Mexican alcohol just in general, I guess.
I do like a Dos Equis.
I was gonna say, do we have tequila?
Dos Equis are good.
I heard tequila does not make you as not like you don't get the hangover as bad.
It makes me.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people say like different alcohols do different things to them.
That may be true.
I don't know. I have no idea other than tequila to me tastes like I'm licking some Mexican's armpit.
Could be too.
I think that's what it's meant to taste like.
Yeah. Well, I do wonder if it's because everybody's slightly more allergic. Like, so tequila is basically made with agave, right? Like, that's the primary thing. And then you got some of these other wheat beer, rye beer, corn-based, I mean, not beer, but alcohol, corn-based, you know. And so I wonder if people are just slightly more allergic to things. So their body, it reacts more aggressively as you're trying to get it out than it does to other alcohol. I wonder if that, we should, you know what? Somebody should do a study on that. Commence. There.
We could talk about that. So, in my experience with my different alcohols I've drank over my course of my adult life, whiskey makes me sleepy, beer makes me want to party, and tequila makes me want to fight people. I don't remember vodka. I don't know what vodka makes me do. I'm not present for it.
We found out what vodka makes you do. Vodka fucks with your hippocampus and you lose all memory.
That's right. I was found wandering the wild streets of Fayette, Missouri one time. Dead of winter, I was wearing a Hawaiian shirt and flip-flops and shorts because it was a luau party that I was attending and was kicked out of. On my return back to campus, I got lost.
That's funny.
Are you sure you're not secretly Floridian? This
sounds very Floridian.
Yeah. I think everybody has a little bit of Floridian in them.
That's my goal.
Yeah. Hey, yeah.
Yo.
Yeah, the only time I've really drank enough to get genuinely sloshed was on stream. That was just whiskey or bourbon. I can't remember, but
really, that's just once.
Yeah, or I mean, it was a few times on stream when people would pay me. Like I would do the thing where they they subbed, I would get paid. I unlike one of our streamer friends who will not be named, don't drink tea or apple juice in place or water it down or drink like 10% alcohol and 90% water. I actually drank it, so I actually did get like very, very, very sloshed on stream.
What are you? Those are pretty large accusations you're putting out there.
No,
it wasn't me.
No, I'm not saying who it was. Just saying sometimes that's well, no, to be fair, some people you can't like you either have to cut them off or you have to start like BSing. Because they will they would kill you. They would make you drink to a point where you would get poisoning.
Yeah.
Oh,
this is so fun.
Because I got to the point where I was like, okay, finally the stream's ending, and I ended, and I barely remember making it to the bed before I was like, gone. And then I woke up like 4 hours later and was just, you know, and just miserable for like the rest of the night. So yes, if you pay me a large sum, like a few $100, I will get drunk, but that's about the only way I'll do. Otherwise, I drink just enough to like taste it, enjoy it, and then I'm like, I'm gonna keep my sanity. Thanks.
Yeah.
What about you, party boy?
I don't have much. I don't know. I mean, there were times in college for sure, but few and far between, right? I was never a super heavy drinker. Worst I can remember is the first time I got drunk, like, we didn't have beer, right? We had screwdrivers, which is like already starting in a bad spot, right? Like you kind of know this is not going to go well. But I didn't because I had never drank before. So I ended up drinking a ton of the screwdrivers because I was like, oh, this isn't affecting me. I'm fine. This is good. I'm okay. And I was not okay, right? Obviously, you know it's good. I was not okay.
Sounds like
I slept on the couch, and I remember waking up at like 1 a.m. And going to what I thought was the bathroom, because this was also my first time at my friend Ben's house. So I went to what I thought was the bathroom. It was actually, come to find in the morning, his linen closet, and I just hurled all in the linen closet, right? Just all over it. And then I was like, I had thought in my stupor that I made it to the bathroom, and so I just went back to the couch, laid down, and went back to bed. And they woke up in the morning, walked out, and were like, "What the fuck happened?" Because it's like right outside their bedroom. There's this disaster. Um, that's pretty much it.
That's a pretty good story. That's pretty solid.
That's all I got. Apart from that, I've been drunk a few times, but never.
That makes me think about like edibles, because I don't like that either. I actually don't enjoy that either. But that's just personal preference. I'm not saying anything. But they absolutely, like, you will eat them, you'll be like,
nothing's happening.
Nothing. And then it's like 30, 45 minutes, an hour, just depends on your digest. Then it like, you're like, holy cow, these are hit. Especially if you get good ones. And so thankfully, one of the first edibles I ever had, somebody did like, they're like, yeah, you may not want to eat like a whole this. You may want to just like, here, take a bite.
That's a good friend.
You know? Yeah. He was trying to help me out. And I was like, all right, that sounds good. I'll and even then it was still like, it wasn't bad. It was probably about the equivalent of, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll do a third next time, because I did like half a gummy worm or something. And I was like, maybe I'll do a third next time. And I tried that for a while, but anyway, it just wasn't for me. But it is interesting how that's absolutely how edibles, and you always hear like horror stories the first time people eat edibles. They eat it and they don't think anything hit, because they're like 30 minutes later, I'm not feeling anything. Whereas like if you smoke, it's just like, pretty quick. And so they double up and they get like another, like, let me try this again. And then they're really like, am I gonna die?
Tommy Chong explained it the best. He said, you have to be careful with edibles, because edibles do what? They get you high. The next thing you know, you're high hungry. And you're holding a brownie in your hand.
Yeah.
You go, ooh, brownie. And then by then it's too late.
Yeah. Then you're done.
I've always been very careful with edibles, because I had one bad experience.
Yeah. See, I don't know. Edibles, they taste good. Like, they taste just like if you get a gummy worm, they taste like a gummy worm. That's why I think they're dangerous, because I was like, ooh, I want another gummy worm. Like, it wasn't the big one I wanted. It was the gummy worm I wanted. As a fat man, that was the temptation. It wasn't the. But it's they're a little more dangerous than you think. But okay, you know what? Let's cover some things, because I'm gonna do the Preacher Oren's. He looked through the internet this week, and here's some things that popped up that he was like, we could talk about. We were talking about being single earlier. I guess I shouldn't have to, create a transition, but here it is anyway. So they now have, I believe it was in California, but I can't remember exactly. I saw a picture of it. It is an OnlyFans billboard. It is a billboard for an OnlyFans channel. Definitely a woman's channel. And it was posted in a school zone. So, how do we feel about OnlyFans now being on public billboards and also being allowed in school zones somehow?
As long as it's not like a stupid, sexy, naked billboard, I'm fine with it, but not in a school zone.
No. By the way, it wasn't that. She was wearing like a nice, like, shoulderless top or whatever, and she was kind of looking over her shoulder, but it wasn't anything like,
I mean, I don't see a problem with it. It's advertising.
I don't know. I mean, I guess, but if you're doing OnlyFans, then I guess you should be able to advertise Pornhub or, any of the others, like, because that's all it is. It's a porn site at that point. So should we have like very large public porn advertisements, or like how free speech-ish are we?
I think that's a good way to frame it.
That's a no-go for me.
I think I'm against all of this. I think I'm against even just the even if it wasn't in a school zone, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm still against it. I mean, I don't like that I get ads on YouTube that are like, it's super weird, right? You'll have these girls like lay back in bed and go, so he used Hims last night?
Oh yeah, Hims, yeah.
Right? And it's like, what is this? Right? And I'm like, why am I seeing this ad? And it literally says, you're seeing this ad because of your time of day that you are viewing, and your location. Nothing else. No cookies, nothing, just time of day, location. So it's like, this is what they're showing, just normal people.
Yeah,
right?
no, I think that is a misnomer. People think that it's all algorithm, and it's not. They absolutely, well, they do sometimes know if you're a man, they will automatically send you sometimes like female-based content, even if it's, because Hims is a male health service thing. Like they do hair, but they're most famous for the shishava flavors.
Right.
You know, the I hope that if I do an audio,
You know, it sounded crazy. That was cool.
So I'm hoping people will get that for it. I'm gonna start up an audio and put that up there for people.
Anyway, I think I'm against all of it.
Yeah, okay.
I think for the reason that it moves the Overton window in an unhealthy direction, right? Like,
yes, Overton.
I'm good with there being a little bit of like sexual discussion among healthy adults, right? But I don't like the moving of the Overton window, because I do think it'll, like, I don't know, the world's getting too sexualized already.
Yes.
Right? Like to an extreme degree, right? To the, I mean, 5th graders, 6th graders are just at my school is talking about, oh, you're gyat this, right? And it's like, you're in 6th grade. You should.
What do you know about gyat? Yeah.
At all. About, like, 6th grade. And it's I think it's because the Overton window's moved. So yeah, I'm against this. Keep it away.
Yeah, no, it's unquestionable. I mean, if you think about it, it's almost impossible now if you really wanted to have a conversation, and if you're with a certain group of people that they don't find every other sentence has something sexual in it, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I like a baseball bat. A baseball bat. I like a fucking baseball bat. You know, it's like, okay, I know everything could be somehow related to genitals, but I do think that is it's too much, right? Like, we've gotten to the point where you can't even have like a normal conversation because every word in the English language has like a sexual connotation to it as well.
Yep.
I do wonder, because this is how they bring it, and I'm very free speech, so this is where I get torn, because that's kind of how porn has been heavily, like, it's kept its foothold, right? Is because it's considered a free speech. That's why X, like Twitter, it actually allows porn on it, like full on. Yeah, you can search and see like jizz on a face if you want it on X, because it's just
obscenity versus art.
Yes,
right. That's the distinction.
Yeah. So at what point does porn go from the artistic expression of sexuality to a gross simplification of it and a harmful summarization or an irresponsible presentation of it, where it doesn't present real sexuality, it presents something like, where is that cliff?
I don't know if I want to go down that road. I suppose the route I would want to take is to point at, if we allow these sorts of freedom of speech things, the freedom of people to grow and experience a world that is not extremely sexualized is very diminished, right? Like, one is not able to live that kind of life anymore because we have allowed this other stuff, right? So I suppose it's like, which freedom would we rather? Because we kind of have to choose, in my opinion, right? I don't know if that's right, but that's what I think. And I would take the other route. I would restrict the freedom of speech to make the life, possible.
I do wonder if I think we crossed the threshold too, where it used to be considered, like, that's why they called the adult film industry, because it was it was like, oh, to do this you have to have the responsibility of an adult and be able to like control it, but it was definitely not meant for like mass public. It was like, oh, this is only something adults talk about in private, because if you start getting out to children, people who don't have the supposed intellectual processing yet, or the self-control development, all the stuff that comes with human development and becoming an adult. And I think that's where we've maybe also slipped, is we've went from it being something that adults can maybe, oh, you're having, a dinner with friends and maybe you have an off-color joke at the table, versus now children in 4th grade are consistently exposed to it just by being on the social media that all their friends are on. It's massively out there. What do you think, Brody? We've kind of been going.
Well, it rings a bell of not to make it biblical, but Sodom and Gomorrah. I feel like if we did have like Pornhub on billboards and stuff like that, it would ring that bell. Feel like it.
Keep going. No, ignore him. Keep going. We're in the middle podcast. He can jump in if he wants. I'm fine with that. At least he didn't drop his normal entry word, so we're good there.
I think there's a cultural appropriateness that people need to abide by. Because originally I was like, well, it's kind of like advertising because it is a small business. But then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I don't want my daughter seeing a billboard like that,
And then that influencing her. Yeah, as she grows up, she'll start thinking, this is what famous people do. And this is what, oh, look, it's a beautiful lady on the screen. And you want to be beautiful, but then
I need to do that too. And hell no. No.
No, that makes sense.
Agreements. I think that is
appreciate you coming around. We've done it.
We need to burn that billboard down to the ground.
All right.
But it's California, and that'll never happen.
Oh, by the way, I don't know 100%. No, I think I remember reading it was California, but it may not. It may have been Missouri. May have been Kansas City, Missouri. I don't know.
A bunch of people are going to link hands around that billboard and be like, "It's you can't."
Oh yeah. Well, there'll be a bunch of libertarians that are very like free speech above all else.
Nancy Pelosi will give a speech about it.
Yeah, I mean, because I know people who are like, "Oh, I personally don't think that's a good moral," but so I mean, that's where I always think it finds difficulty, on a like actionable scale, is that you have to then start convincing the middle of the road people who are very like everybody should be able to do their own thing and say whatever. It's like, well, okay, yes, but under what's like we were talking about, there's got to be some sort of restriction, right? Like,
yeah.
But then, do they take that restriction and go, oh, well now, quote unquote, right? They try to do that with hate speech, right? So if you were like, oh, I disagree with your choice to do this, or I am religiously inclined to believe this about this social policy or this societal element, then you're hate speech. You can't. We're gonna legally prosecute you. That's an interesting, like, how would you cut that off? Because I think it's like once you open that Pandora's box, then people are absolutely going to be, I mean, just like anything, right? But people could abuse it to silence positive speech that they just don't want to hear. It's like, it's a tough concept to turn into an actionable, like a real world. It's not more than just like we ourselves have a perspective on life and what we want to. It's like, how do you make it a law? Like how do you tailor it to where it doesn't get misused?
Okay, what do you think of this option? We say you are allowed the freedom of speech unless it impedes the ability of others to live the life they have chosen to live, or something like that.
I right? Get that. But then that's where they like. Okay, let's say. Okay, I'm just because this is such an easy example. I'm not making a complete value judgment on this, but let's say trans issues, right? And people go, you can be trans, but I don't have to treat you like you're trans. Well, the trans people say, well, if you don't verify me, then it denies me and I can't live it.
Limits their ability to live the life that they want to go for. Right.
And so you could, I guess, do the same thing with sexuality. Like, oh, you're saying I'm a whore. I'm not. And, you don't let me be the person I want. Then you just go, it's like whatever element you put it, someone's going to abuse it. Someone's going to exaggerate and abuse it, which is very frustrating. But because if we were all rational, we could just,
That really is it, right? Like I just think of an example. We had, for Carline at our school, we would have a guy pull in. And he would drive this big ass truck, right? Mm-hmm. And it had "fuck Joe Biden" written all over it, right? It had "Let's go Brandon." It had like 3 American flags sticking out. It just like you can be pro-Trump.
What was Ply doing in Florida?
You can be pro-Trump. You can be anti-Joe Biden. But driving that through like a Christian car line at school just kind of gives off bad vibes.
Especially the cuss word. Yeah, I could see the cuss word being like. Yeah, that's a bit much. I agree.
And it's just I really think that it impedes the ability of those around, especially the people who are developing, right? Like, like kids, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, what?
I
That's the
suppose
whole
if
point of the "Let's Go Brandon."
to
Was
So
to
that
piss
we
censor
people
made
it.
off,
it.
right? Like to
Yeah,
bother
it
people.
was to censor it. Yeah.
I thought if I
No, okay, no,
remember
it was
right,
actually it wasn't. It was a mockery. So what happened was,
right.
it was at a NASCAR race, and
Yeah.
she was talking to a guy, and in the background they were chanting "fuck Joe Biden" very loudly. And so the only thing she could come up with to do, she was like, "Oh, the crowd's so noisy. They're saying, 'Let's go, Brandon.' They really love it." And she's trying to you could clearly hear that was not what they were saying, and that's where it became a joke to kind of make fun. But I don't think it was a genuine attempt to clean it up. I think it was just a mockery of.
I mean, that's one way to clean it up.
Yeah. By the way, where's your sexy face?
It's probably a la mode.
I mean, it's here.
He knows.
It's
There
here.
it is. Ooh, there it is.
Oh, my fellow beardless man. Yes.
I know.
Welcome.
I
We
actually can't
too
even do my own
stand
video
resolute.
yet. I needed to. It's already coming back though. I'm like I got the
Why did you shave it? You never
shadow.
did say why you shaved it. Was there a reason?
Yeah, I no. I
You just got tired of it?
Did you have
Yeah.
egg yolk stuck in
That's
it?
what
No, it was just sitting there like twisting, and I was like, yeah, we're just gonna hit the reset on this one.
Yeah.
I don't see my own video. Why do I not see my own video?
We can see it. I can see you. You big old
So
sexy.
camera.
Click
There it
the
is.
dots at the bottom. Yeah, you got it.
But
What's
yeah.
next? Let's go,
Okay.
Brandon.
All right. You run another one.
Next topic.
Hold on.
I'm
It's similarly. I'm gonna get my phone out and I'm gonna look this one up because I want to make sure I get it right. It's on. I've got it saved. Is it this one? It's about a lady who wrote something, and it was like, okay, here it is. And it was one of the guys that I follow who's like, oh, what? And so here's her. She took a picture of her, in like tight workout clothes, right, and a little cutoff shirt. But that's not the point. She was flexing, and her whole point was, and here's her. People act like I'm not gorgeous because I made love with a dog. People like kinky girls too. At least you know I'm down for everything. Some girls don't even get wet. So what is your thoughts about that little post, huh? You looking for the dog fuckers because you know they're sexually available? Like is that a
What good timing, Angel.
Yeah.
Make your appearance.
Yeah. He's
Dog
like,
looks like he's about to poop on
She
your
said,
couch.
Huh? Dog love? What?
not that kind.
Terrified now.
But so yeah, go ahead, have at it. Give me your.
Must I? Must I really?
What do you think about not only just being that and having that opinion, but then having the wherewithal, the chutzpah to post it on a public internet forum like Twitter?
Should have left that in the drafts.
I
You don't
well, I
come back
mean,
from that. And she's proud of it.
I
She's defending
love,
it.
love people being authentic to who they are in their hearts, right? Like,
okay.
I've been, there's a quote from Homer that I've had stuck in my mind the past week. As hateful to me as the gates of hell is he who's hiding one thing in his heart utters another. And so if she's like, dude, I love fucking dogs, I love being crazy, then yeah, I like that she said it, to be honest, right? I think that it's waving a massive red flag around at any reasonable and sane man ever, right? But I would rather she wave that red flag around than try to hide it.
Yeah.
I don't know, right? That would be my take, right? Like I think it was like Keanu Reeves that said, like, there are so many people on this earth, you don't have a chance to meet all of them and get to know all of them. It is a blessing when people indicate to you, hi, I'm not worth your time.
Yeah,
Go to someone else.
I kind of agree with you. I think the same thing about a lot of people who say things on the internet or they're just straightforward because then you're like, oh, I know you're not on my list of like, I don't want to continue. Yeah, I fully agree with that. That's I've always would have said, like, if you're like genuinely racist or whatever,
Right.
It's like, good. Let me know up front, and then we can, that's good. I don't want them to be silenced because otherwise you wouldn't know, right? Until you get to, so it's like,
Yeah.
I kind of, strangely enough, agree with. It's like, good. I'll know that's not a person I want to deal with. What do you think, Brody? No, you can go ahead. Give us your opinion, Brody.
Some things are better left in the drafts. Some things you just don't need to tell people.
Okay, so
I'm curious of is how many men commented on that video and said, "I wish I was your dog."
I thought about
see
this
that
too.
number.
I wish I didn't look it up.
That comment, but like how many people were like defending
agree.
the like, this is acceptable behavior, right?
Mhm.
What if there's a poll?
Yeah.
A poll in the Discord, is fucking your dog okay? But
I'm
Like
not
legally,
making that poll.
morally, I like.
None of that's the thing. It's illegal too. Like it's.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
Are there laws?
Bestiality
Bestiality
Are there
laws.
federal laws in Missouri about?
Well, I don't know about Missouri, but
you can only fuck
federal
your sheep
okay.
on Mondays.
At what point do we stop giving these people validation and start getting them help?
I think some people are beyond help.
But when do we stop trying though?
So, that would be the bear question. Yeah, when do we stop trying? When do we assess like, oh, this person's gone?
Personally, I've already made that assessment.
Yeah, I'm like, man, if you're banging a dog and then telling everybody publicly about it, you have to be pretty far removed from like morality and reality and a lot of things for you to have gotten to that stage. It's kind of like.
Okay, so is that just like needing validation, or is that actually like a cry for help? Like, I mean,
I don't
it's
know,
so
man.
fucking out there that I can't really.
It could be both.
Yeah.
I don't think those two things are necessarily exclusive.
Clock's turning up there. I can see him processing it.
I
can see Brody's checked out, but placebo, I've got him thinking. Brody had his answer as soon as
I don't know the person, right? Like, if I knew the person and if I spent a few days with the person, I think I could figure it out. But I don't know them, right? Like, so I don't want to say. But I suppose I'm trying to figure out what the most likely scenario is.
It's hard whenever it's like social media is just thrown out there, and like you can't make personal decisions.
Well, we were talking about the Overton window, and I do wonder how much of that is like we have made it too acceptable for everybody to share everything all the time online.
We definitely have,
and there's definitely some stuff that's like that's a private thing. That is not a public thing.
Yeah,
it's not a dinner conversation.
That is like that is something you say like after a few dates where you're like this could be an issue, like we should talk about this, you and I, right? This is not typically something that should be like.
Have you ever thought about a three-way with a dog? I mean, I just
throw that out there.
Me and my dog have a very special relationship. You'll have to accept. There was now that you guys mentioned it, there was another clip that I saw, and it was like a call-in show. And a guy, so what it was, the girl sent them a message, and they were supposed to call the guy and ask him what happened. Like it was like they did a service, for people that like, oh, if the date went wrong, or she didn't know why. She said some guy, they were on a date, everything was going well. He went over to her apartment, and then all of a sudden he just ran out of the building like he had diarrhea or something. And she couldn't figure out why. They thought it was great, and so they called the guy and asked him. Well, his whole story was he finally was like, oh, yeah, things were going great. She asked me back to her apartment, and I was super excited. I thought we're going to get something tonight. And I went and I did use the bathroom, but it wasn't like that. I went and peed, and I came back, and she was like tonguing her dog. And she's like, oh, no, we're just showing affection. But it was like weird. Like she was getting like, and like the dog, did the dog like start like licking her crotch, and she kind of just was a little too like, have at it. And then he was like, okay, I'm out. And he was like, I don't think I want to deal with this. And so, and then that was on the public like radio station.
You violated the law.
Very good.
Wow. Quite good.
That's good timing. You know what? That's the one I'll allow it. But yes, I don't know. It just made me think like this apparently is not.
Oh my god.
That
my cat's
rare.
here. I'm afraid now.
Oh yes, I got all these animal lovers in my.
I don't know what's going on here.
I don't know how honest any of you are.
Apparently, the Disney princess.
Yes, hands in the air the whole time that you're done.
I'm not doing anything. I promise.
Mine's asleep right
gosh.
there. She's sleeping.
But it's like apparently this isn't as rare as you would hope or would think. So I don't know.
And I'm saying that's because we've moved right. The world's gotten so sexualized that the previous sexually exciting things are no longer sexually exciting. So everyone needs new stuff. So they find this weird shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, unfortunately, I have a story that's relevant. Not about me, but about a guy I know. Hands in the air.
Present. Yes, present. I am.
Sure. So at
beer in hand.
A party in high school, somebody was sitting on a couch with a dog in their lap, and they were wearing gym shorts.
Okay.
And when the dog leapt down from said person's lap, they were fully erect.
Well, who knows what they were looking at elsewhere, right? Like, you know, maybe something was going on, and then the dog was like, you know, a shield for a while. We've all been there in high school where you're carrying around some books that you definitely could put in your backpack. Well, you don't blame the books. The books are doing a service.
That's true. You have a point. You have a valid point. Everyone's hidden one before.
Oh, I'm not blaming the pets in any of these scenarios. The pets are not the thing that I am blaming in any of this. But no, I get you. You know, I guess yes. If you don't know for a fact, you know, what
is possible. Right? Yeah, it is possible.
I don't know. There are a few cheerleaders at my school that might have been to donkey shows. On the other side.
Oh my God, Eagle.
Donkey show.
Yeah, Texas really does it better, huh?
No.
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 Not there. Not with those two.
Sorry, my Midwestern was coming out.
Okay.
You got anything not super sexual here?
Yeah, okay, no, we can move on. No, I actually was thinking, man, I can't wait to title this video. I'm gonna, you know, sex with dogs? Question mark? Placebo tells all.
Yes. He said this.
Oh my God! Can you?
You have to.
Should he be in jail? Okay, so
up every word he says.
It is sort of. I mean, it's not sexual, but it's related to romance relationships.
Fuck it, let's do it.
There was a post, and a woman was talking about. There was a quote. I guess they were debating this, and she made the point of. I got the quote here. If he wanted to, he would. It's a common thing that women tell. Well, honestly, they tell each other more than anything.
I've been told that.
But it's like, if you wanted to, you would. And that a lot of times, I get some of the concept they're coming from, and I think maybe that applies to some people, but I also think they apply it way too much to, like, men should be... if men loved me, they would read my mind. You know, they would... just obsess over me all like it's either you obsess over them or you don't love them. That is kind of like how this phrase, especially in the comments, that's almost how you saw this phrase starting to like fluctuate to either like, you know, if he loved you, he would just constantly, you know, think about you all the time, and he would predict that you flowers every day. He would know that you wanted your toes scratched, even though you didn't say anything. You're just, you know, it's like, and it does kind of remove also the, diversity is not the right word, but the polarity or the difference between men and women's brains, because they do sometimes work differently, and how it focuses and what it all perceives, and just how it's not, because I think there's very good men who definitely love their spouse, but they are thinking about different things. Or, okay, let me give an example. The guy's like, I love my wife, so I'm going to wake up early, and I'm going to go to work, and I'm going to work 12 hours, and then I'm going to come home, and I know that the gutter needs, so I'm going to go and do something on the gutter, and then I'm going to be, and then he's exhausted, right? And he lays down, and she's thinking, well, I needed, you know, we were supposed to go out to eat, or we were going to take a walk or whatever. If he loved me, he would do this. And it's like, well, no, you guys are just, you know, you have different ways of expressing and thinking about how you want to apply your love. And if you don't tell, I always am like, me and Placebo get on this all the time, communication. Like people.
That's where I was gonna
suck at communication. Like tell them. Yeah. Go ahead, Placebo. I'll stop talking.
No, I mean this whole thing sounds like could be solved with communication, and I'm conflicted on this really because like, it it would be so easy to just say, if you want flowers, say I want flowers. If you want chocolate, say I want chocolate. But that does take away some of the the benefit, right? Like the reading of the mind, I do think is a little bit necessary, to be honest, right? I don't think you can totally get rid of that, even with perfect communication. But like this gutter scenario, absolutely, that is communication failure, right? And the whole thing sounds like, I don't know, to be honest, like just emotional immaturity, right? Like it's an emotionally immature thing to think if he wanted to do something he would, or if she wanted to do something she would, right? Like there are plenty of things that one might want to do but doesn't do because some other alternative is better, right? And just good communication clears it up. That's all.
How about the man who's been married?
Hello.
Yeah, what's your? I mean,
so
you're the only one that's been married here, so I figured I'd get your 2 cents.
When you get married, usually your person in charge of the ceremony has you fill out a quiz, and it's your love language quiz. And so what I took from that is his love language is acts of service. Like, I'm going to do this and this and this and this and this, so you don't have to worry about it. Whereas her, in the situations, love language was I want personal time or personal time and acts of love, stuff like that. And like, you're exactly right. I'm not disagreeing with it. Communication is the main factor, and communication could have solved a lot of things. And it is emotional immaturity because people get so well. I can't talk to him because he's not going to take it well, or he won't listen the way I want him to, and things like that. People get so scared of what could happen. They're scared to communicate, is my thought on that. Communication is absolutely
agreed,
100% the way to
I think
go.
Very often people are too afraid of the outcome to actually like do the communicating, right? Like, I 100% think you're right on that.
I mean,
oh,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
And to tie back in with what you said, if he could, he would. I've been told that by a woman, and it was all due to she was crazy, but she insulted my best friend. And this is a different one. This is not the divorcee.
Oh, gotcha.
This was a more recent one. She insulted my friend. I jumped her for it and said, "No, you're going to be respectful to him, just like you're going to be respectful to me. Respect is genuine. Like, people deserve to be respected. Don't disrespect people.
You may not like them, but there's a difference between dislike and disrespect. I think you can."
Yeah. And so she went to his work to apologize to him, and they talked, they did their apology and whatever, and then she immediately called me and was like, "Hey, your best friend was hitting on me. You know, if he wanted to, he would have. If he could have, he would have." And I'm like, "No, he wouldn't have. I've known the guy for 26 years. He's my best friend. That's not true at all." But she was using that phrase
differently.
I think, because a lot of narcissists, when they get into a relationship, the first thing they do is isolate the person they're with to remove them from their support center. And that's class act what she was trying to do. She's trying to use that phrase to do it, to try and convince me. Dating a narcissist. I am the expert. All right, I was married to one, but I can't talk bad about her for legal reasons. She's a very good mother to my daughter. However,
for legal reasons, she is an exceptional mother to my.
And she's a good mom, but we did not do well as partners, and should have noticed it a lot sooner. Because it very much was, if I said I want to go to my family's on this day, oh well, we're going to mine, and there was no discussion about it. She was like, "This is the plan. I am the center of attention." And I think a lot of the lead up to the divorce came from attention focusing on the child and not her. But that's all. That's all. Hearsay and allegations is no way as a derogatory statement towards the mother of my child.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get you in legal trouble here. So yeah.
Just an observation
probably
on
wise.
the topic at hand.
Yeah. Probably steered away from that. Okay. Anybody else? Placebo. I know you've got something.
Preacher, you said something to me. It is sticking. It is remarkable how Brody and I are the same age and yet how different we are.
Yeah.
It is astounding, right? Like,
yeah, two very polar opposite people. I agree.
Just remarkable. With every ounce of respect, we are just different people because I disagree with almost everything that Brody said this entire time. Like 100%. But there's do we want to go into that or do we want to move on to the next thing, right? Like, how do we want it? Preacher, you're in charge here. Lead us.
If you have something to say, I mean, you go ahead. Have at it.
No, I mean, I suppose. All right. First off, I don't believe the love language speech, right? Like that people typically give, right? Like my love language is words of affirmation, their love language is physical. I don't buy that, right? I think these are words that we give people that they adhere to because they are trying to understand themselves, but they don't yet, right? And it's like an easy catch-all, right? I think far more accurate is probably in certain moments I want certain things, in others I want other things, right? I guess I don't buy that there is this sort of universal, like within my soul I have this type of love language. What was the other thing? The respect, right? I think that people are by default worthy of respect, but I do think they can do things to make them not worthy of respect later.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, okay. Because it sounded like people were like sort of always worthy of respect, and I suppose.
No, I guess I think he was saying at a base level before you know, or like
before you know somebody, you should be respectful to them.
Yeah, until they do something genuinely heinous, they deserve respect as a human being.
Maybe your ex-wife got to know your best friend and decided he was, as such, not worthy of her respect, right?
Oh, this was not ex-wife. This was somebody who had just arrived on the scene.
Oh, sorry, different person. Gotcha.
Yeah.
But
somebody who never met this person.
Yeah.
That's fair. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I will come in and get. I know the love language books and all that have done a lot to save marriages. There's just numerically it did a lot. Now it may be because of what Placebo said. It helped people understand themselves and help them put what they think into boxes that they were able to communicate with the other person in a way that the other person would actually understand. It got people off of being defensive. I do think there's something to it because there's people who are very they express their love to other people through physical touch. They hug, they give them a good, back pat, they give them a, around the shoulders, and there's people who hate being touched. And so saying the way I express myself, a lot of times my initial just natural push when I love somebody is I will give them a hug or I'll give them a massage on the neck and be like, it's going to be okay, man. Whereas this person's like, oh, I don't like that. I think that needs to be, I don't know if you want to call it a love language, but that does need to be expressed somehow because your natural instinct is going to be to do this. And so I think that's more of what it's talking about is just kind of like your natural inherent, like what you first do. It's not that you can only express it. The whole idea is like, oh, I know that you don't like it, so I'm going to try not to do this as often. But also they understand that that's how you get love, and they'll let you do it maybe a little more often than they were wanting in the first place because they understand where you're coming from and why. And it's like it's your way of. But I agree. I mean, I think there's no such thing as a catch-all system. I just I don't believe. I don't know if I want to say don't believe, but nothing's ever perfect for everybody all the time. You're going to have to find what works for you in your relationship. I do think whatever helps you communicate to the other person, that's the real value of it. Is it's allowing you to again communicate. And so
and I suppose this is my issue, right? Like I think those love languages do help people communicate, right? And that makes them good and of value. But I think at the same time, for those that are perhaps quite insightful or quite able to discern the variances in things, I think that subscribing to that theory limits them from living.
It's like the MTBI. Do you know what I'm talking about? The
Minnesota multi.
No, it's like thinking versus judgmental, internal versus external. It's a big thing that really
Myers-Briggs.
Myers-Briggs, yeah, Myers-Briggs. Yep. It became huge in South Korea, but they started using, instead of it just being like kind of like these are kind of people's tendencies. If you want to get them into a job or a position, give them tasks that kind of mirror that. It became a like this is who you are as a person. And they started like judging people like, yeah, and it's like, because there's like I'm a mix of an introvert and extrovert. Like I obviously can handle talking to people and don't mind, but I'm also not like Ply where I'm just like I got to be around people even to eat. I gotta watch me eat. So it's like there's variance to it, and it's not, and even the people who wrote the Myers-Briggs were like, this is not a like 100% catch-all. This tells you who you are as a human being. This is a very like basic level, just tries to give management an idea of how to like make you more comfortable at work. And there's like, you could be 45% one thing and 55% the other. So 45% of the time you would be, the best option for you would be to be, say, in a thinking position as opposed to a feeling. I think thinking and feeling were the two the opposites. But in some situations, you're a feeler, right? And so it's like, it's just never but people wanted to get it, oh, you're a feeler. Well, then you're always a feeler, right? That's how it always came down. Is they would just put you in a box. And like you said, it limited the actual conversation and the actual connecting with someone because it made it too easy for people just to oversimplify a very complicated human nature. By the way, Evil, you say something. You've been sitting there quiet.
Good communication skills here are. It's topical that we bring this up, and you go to the one man we know in our friend group that has the worst communicative skill.
Chef's kiss. Oh, okay, great. Well, next topic then.
Look, can I say?
Yeah. Please, bro. If you have something to say something. I want to pee, but I've got
everything you all have said. I think love languages are like a broad concept in that individuals show love in their own individual way. But like you said, it just helps. It's kind of like a funnel. It helps narrow it down to know what people, like the not being touched. That's a good one. That was a good reference. Evil's probably asleep.
Oh, and now we've lost Preacher.
Yeah. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. See, we're not so different after all.
We're pretty different.
Are we the same age?
That's why it's so incredible, because we are the same age, and yet I don't know that like a polar opposite to the same extent. It's remarkable.
Yeah, sorry, I thought Brody.
The narcissism thing. I was ready to go off on that narcissism thing, right? Like saying that we're dating a narcissist or being involved with a narcissist. I hate that phrasing. I hate that language, right? Everyone has some degree of narcissism. It's like it's a spectrum, right? Like
that's true. But I think once you cross a threshold, someone is considered a narcissist.
Yeah, I disagree with that. Unless the threshold is from 99% to 100%, then if that's the threshold, then I'm okay with that statement. But shy of that, I 70 to 71,
why
40 to 45.
Let's say they cross I'll go 70%. If they cross 70% of the time, they're just self-absorbed, almost to a harmful.
Very narcissistic. I'm good with that. Very narcissistic. So
you don't think
a narcissist?
Okay. Well, what? So how would? I don't think anybody's 100% narcissistic though. So I don't know that anybody would. Well,
Sorry, I'm being annoying.
No, you're not. I don't. I think you're nitpicking on something. In other words, it's like there are feminine men, but that doesn't mean that they are. We don't call them men, right? Like, or we call it's like.
I agree.
I don't know. Maybe that's a tough. I think the term narcissism is just what it is it's used to describe people, if applied accurately, who are very heavily just constantly focused on themselves to the point where it becomes a negative, like it is negatively impacts those around them. I think that's the intent of it. I agree that it gets misused a lot in relationships, towards people who, anytime someone, it's almost like the narcissists use it more than the right? Like they're like, oh, you don't think about me and this, and it's like they use it almost more often than people who are just like doing. Trying to think what to say here. Let's say the example we gave earlier of the guy who he's still thinking about his wife and he's still trying to do things for her, but he doesn't do things the way she wants done. She might call him a narcissist because in her perception, he's not perceiving, she thinks he's just thinking about himself. He's just trapped inside his own head. So he's not perceiving the signals or whatever she thinks she's giving out. So she proclaims him to be a narcissist when that's not true, right? He's still thinking about her. He's just doing it in a way that she didn't expect or hasn't been appreciating. And so I do think people misuse the term a lot in order to,
to
vilify. Yeah.
To vilify is often, I think, the usage.
Yeah. I mean, so I don't know. Maybe I don't have a firm belief on that one yet.
Maybe it's probably because I teach and all the time I have to correct people, right? And like if I correct them in a way that indicates some element of who they are is wrong, I can't do that, right? Like because that will damage these people.
Okay.
Versus if I say,
your actions are a certain way.
You're acting stupid, right? Like, I know you're not, but you are acting stupid. I suppose that's all, right? Like, you're being narcissistic, not you're a narcissist. That's probably why I'm so cued into.
Okay, I get that. And because now the thing is, if someone is, there is a word for somebody who's like mentally incapable of processing the emotions of other people. What is that? There's a psychological term for it. What is that?
Sociopathy, psychopathy.
Maybe it's like socio or psychopathy.
One of those two.
So I was maybe, I don't know. Maybe that would be the only genuinely applicable. Like if you're saying a actual statement about the person, not their actions, but it's like you have.
I'll be honest with you, there are times where I want to say to the kids, "You are stupid," right? The truth is not that your actions are stupid. Your actions are very normal for you. Right, and I would love.
You just always make these stupid. Yeah.
But I can't. Right.
Yeah. Right. The consistency of your stupid actions presents a theory that I have about your actual character. Yeah. Okay. All right. Squirming Brody. What's? Give me a little something. You were doing a little move. Give me something.
Oh, I'm just listening to my dog dream.
Oh,
She's
okay.
chasing something.
Well, we're all listening to Evil Dreams, so that's
oh man, let him start snoring. It would be perfect. It would be such a throwback.
What an entertaining podcast that would show me that. He's enthralled by our conversation.
I have one
to speechlessness.
I have one final post that I thought was kind of an interesting. So it was Zachary Levi, the guy that played Kazam. Yeah, and what was the first role he played? He was like a nerd. Chuck. Thank you, Chuck. That was the one that he really got big at. And I actually really liked that show.
That was a good show. And
he was actually having an online discussion on Twitter with people about the role AI plays in entertainment. And he was saying, like, I think it's not good. It's going to remove everything that makes the artistry side of it art, and I think it takes away that human. And he's like, he is building a production studio. He is creating a production, and one of the big things he is trying to fight against is the use of AI, because he's like, in 2 years, writers are going to be replaced, actors are going to be, everything's going to be replaced. No one's going to have a job. But is it really going to have the same humanity in it? And he also said it was a little bit like cheating. I've got the quote, and he was basically saying AI isn't like giving everyone access to buy paint, like if they were making a painting type of art. It is giving everyone it is giving everyone access to something that will do the painting for them.
Yeah.
And so in other words, it's AI is not creating all these artists. It's literally letting people who have no real artistic value, whatever, they're just like, draw a donkey banging a woman for a podcast, and then they just, it comes out with a picture, right? And they don't have to draw. But the point being is, he was saying Like it does devalue the human element of artistry and kind of I mean, we've had this argument before, but I mean, I don't know if we quite touched on this direction. I don't know. But
I was gonna say it was the case in our podcast that we were talking every single week about the human soul's tendencies. Now it's become AI. Right?
Yeah.
AI is the topic every time.
It just pops up in everything I watch. It's a new thing pops up where somebody's like, and I agree, I do genuinely worry about what it will do to the human soul, because I think it's possible we don't have nobody has jobs. Like teaching's taking over. Everything's taken over because it's just easier and cheaper to pay a computer to do this stuff for you, right? So let's say we're all sitting around. It is going to be real hard. I think some people, like you like to be introspective, but I think a lot of people are going to have a hard time shifting and finding a sense of purpose and worth in their lives if they have to, if they're just, there's no work, there's no goal to go towards. I don't know if they could generate. I mean, who knows? Maybe our podcast is be taken over by AI. I mean, it's just there's a worry. I guess it's a genuine, consistent worry that pops up, and maybe that's why I get it on my Twitter feed, right? Because I'm like, oh yeah, and it's like, oh, this guy wants to talk about AI all the time. But I don't know. What do you think?
We are here to be. I honestly think that what we are doing here, and when we bring this topic up and when we talk about it, the only thing that's really happening is we are being prescient. We are being prophetic. There is no stopping what is coming.
No, yeah, I agree.
But we know what is coming, and here it is. We're saying it ahead of time, and we have receipts that we said it ahead of time. So later we can be like, we told you fucking so. And I think that's all this is, to be honest, right? Like,
I hope that it helps other people mentally process it a little bit too. Like, I do think there's still a lot of people who don't believe. Like there was someone in our Discord, right? He was like, "There's no way AI is taking my job because of blah 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 blah," and I was like, nope, there's absolute evidence that I will say this. There's already been court cases won by AI. He said, oh, it's been thrown out by AI. I was like, yes, but there's also been court cases that what happened was the law firm used AI to do most of it, and then they had a human present it. The one that got thrown out was he actually had an AI
present it.
Creature, whatever, present it. But it's not far, and the thing is, AI is going to develop more. So it's going to be more accurate, more able to get the law exactly correct. In 2 years, it's going to be...
And it doesn't grow at the rate that a human grows, right? It'll be slowly, and then all at once, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And so it's prophetic. Just like, I just want people to be like, start thinking already how you're going to find purpose in your life if you're not doing the thing that you're doing right now. Another video I saw was a Chick-fil-A. It was like probably about the size of it's not a car. It's maybe like half the size of a car. But it was a Chick-fil-A little automated bot. Drove down the road, drove up to a house, dropped off the Chick-fil-A, pulled back out, and drove. It's like even food delivery is going to be like you can't even do DoorDash. I think they
said, in like 7 or 8 states, they had, I want to say 5 million taxi drives with no driver, right? Just an automated taxi. I saw something about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
I actually read
stopping it. Well, I'm not powerful enough to stop it, nor are any of us. So.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody
told you so.
What I actually think is the reason is I think maybe if, let's say the U.S. actually got some sort of a conscience and we're like, man, we can tell this is not going to be good for humanity, we'll pull off. I don't think other countries will. Just like
agreed.
Do the same with military stuff. It's like
agreed.
And then there'll be more, and then the U.S. has to do it because if you don't, you're going to get just destroyed by the people who have AI running everything, and so you're going to have to adapt. But you're right. I probably, that was the only other thing. But go ahead, Brody. You haven't. I think me and Placebo talked a lot about AI, but I don't think you were here for any of it. So give us your shtick.
They're already creating forklifts that do my job, and now at the DC I work, we're getting automatic pallet dispensers. So there's one person's job gone already. And they're like, oh, it's going to be so much better. And I don't think so. I think it's going to ruin it. But AI can be used well in partnership with humans. I think the moment that we replace humans with AI is the moment Skynet happens.
When it stops helping us do our job and it starts doing the job for us, basically. Yes. I kind of agree with that. I think
because
I think we should have stopped about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, where it was able to enhance what people could do and speed us up, but it wasn't doing it in the absence of human, basically. I do wonder. Now, this is another thing I was going to ask you guys. And I've heard this be kind of the lead in, that eventually there's going to have to be a universal income. Like,
yeah, so that's where I always go with this, right? Like when people lose the jobs, right? There needs to be some sort of UBI.
Yeah.
Or if you want to get
because it's people you can't have 150. Let's say even half the people half the working force or half the people of adult age who could work lose their job. That's 100 million people without and they can't replace it. Let me finish the sentence because I am going to finish sentences. Especially when you start getting a little bit older, when you've spent your life in a career path, and that's what you've trained, and now you're kind of getting to the place where we're doing a complete switch. You're not going to switch and become an AI programmer. It's just probably not going to happen once you cross like 45, 50, somewhere in that range. You're kind of stuck. And so it's like...
Couldn't do that right now.
You can't... Something's going to have to be done. And how do we make that usable and effective without it destroying the economy, without destroying people, without destroying taxation? I mean, how do we... I don't have an answer. I have no idea. It kind of scares me. But there has to be somebody who's can figure this out. Is it either one of you?
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
I think it's got to start with some kind of reproducible good, right? Like something like coal doesn't work, right? Because when you use it, it's gone. But something like bananas does, right? You can grow more bananas, right? So we get some kind of reproducible good. We get the robots to do all of the work on that reproducible good, right? Eventually, we get good enough at programming that we can do that. Now we have infinite bananas. Scarcity has gone away. UBI possible, right? UBI works out in that scenario because there is no scarcity. Now, there are some things that are always going to be in that scarcity realm that are the not reproducible things. I don't know how you deal with that, but the good thing, I think, is that the majority of human needs can be satisfied with those reproducible goods. So I think that's how it works. That's my perception, though.
I hope
could be wrong.
No, I think that's a good theory. I accept this theory. I don't know. I'd have to do more digging. I wish I'd done more digging, but it's just kind of crossed my brain. But yeah, it is. I don't know because I was like,
I'm a fan of the UBI concept. I think I believe in that, and I wish we would do it now. To be honest.
Yeah, I just know that a lot of people, that's where they go, oh, it's a commie,
Yeah, but like...
Polar opposite over here. I was thinking that sounds a lot like communism, but it would be nice if we didn't have to want for food. I agree with that. I would love to have AI get really good at raising crops and all that. Farmers are going to be pissed because they've been doing it for generations.
I mean, technically, we burn food now, right? It's just we artificially increase food scarcity. Like, we already burn millions of pounds of food a year, so it's like, how would we... I wonder who will set the standard for what the UBI will be. Like, how much does a person need to be a happy, satisfied person? Because that's changed, right? Like, Ply wants an Xbox in every room, and... arcade behind him, and he wants to be own 4 houses and a yacht, and that's where his happiness level is. Whereas I'm very happy. You give me a functioning gaming PC and food and a roof, I'm high speed internet, I'm pretty much set. So I do wonder who will make that choice, because I think that's what always ends up happening, right? That's why communism, those type of systems kind of tend to fail. If someone goes, oh, this is what you need, and then you end up standing in bread lines, right? Like it just doesn't work. Something doesn't catch there, and so I don't know. Somebody very intelligent is going to have to be able to figure that part out, because it's, or maybe we just kill ourselves off, and humanity had a good run. Good job, guys.
I was thinking like WALL-E, because the people. Have you guys seen the movie WALL-E?
Yeah.
I haven't, but I know the stuff within it that you're talking about, right?
I mean, they have whatever they want whenever they want it, and everybody just gets fat and lazy and no longer has bones to walk on. Meanwhile, everybody having all of this abundance of whatever they want whenever they want it, completely trashed the planet. Completely trashed it. And they had to leave. And I think I'm a little bit of a prepper. I don't know if that's a surprise to anybody, but I'm trying to make my property self-sufficient for the necessities, like chickens for food and eggs and fertilizer and compost, and then rain barrels for drinkable water and the water filtration system, like stuff like that. Because I think it's all gonna go to shit, because they'll never be able to figure out who. It's a beautiful concept. I just don't see it happening. Because there's always going to be people who want more, who need to have more.
And that's the other part that companies, right? The people who are in the government position, the high government positions, they were never in the bread lines, right? Like Stalin had meat every meal. You know what I'm saying? Kim Jong-un you look at him, he's not the one eating like dandelion roots that he dug out of the yard, right? Like he has his bread and meat and whatever he wants, whatever. So there's always people who are at the upper end. They realize like it's a power vacuum, and the people who want more than what they should are always going to go find their way up there to where they can vote themselves into extravagance compared to other people. It's just hard. I don't know, because I agree it may have to happen. I mean, what do you do if nobody could? We either have to say we're just not going to let AI do certain jobs, right? And there's just going to be a chunk of jobs, even though an AI could do it, we're not going to, or we're going to have to figure out a way to pay people and make it functional. The end. All right, good. We solved the world's problem. That's what we do.
Yep.
Me and Placebo.
You should, man. What they need to figure
when
out.
We're not on podcast, you should see all the world's problem me and Placebo have solved. It's crazy, man. We just sit around and we've solved everything. We solved cancer. I'm pretty sure at some point in time.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I guess that's good enough. Let's end on a depressing, sad note.
The world's going to end in AI.
Yeah. All of you should.
I don't think it'll be the WALL-E scenario. I don't think it will.
I just have no faith in humanity.
If you got everything that you needed, right, would you get fat like the people from WALL-E? Would you become like them? I don't think so. I think you'd keep doing you.
Yeah.
I would probably keep doing me.
Yeah. Now, do I think there are many people who would devolve into that? Of course. Yes. Absolutely. But that's good for you and me on the hierarchy system.
That is good for
they
us.
Do that, right? Like we win.
Yeah. Before we do leave, I keep thinking of I haven't seen this movie, but I understand the concept of it, and it's that everybody's personal wealth is boiled down to their social ranking, and like good actions towards others increases your social ranking, and that gives you more like, oh, I was a really good person, and now I can go to this fancy restaurant and eat. I don't remember the movie. I wish I did, but I don't.
Well, I mean, China already uses that a little bit. They already have a social ranking system where it adjusts what you're allowed. Yeah, that's fine. But again, that just always comes down to who would dictate what are socially positive actions, right? Like right now, you could have half of the U.S. thinks being hyper liberal is a overall moral good, right? And telling children in kindergarten about their sexuality and about peepees and vaginas, and you can have whatever you want, they think that's a moral good. So if they got in power, then only the people who espoused those values would have the finances, right? And so I think that's what you always get to who would decide what is considered a socially good action. And how would we, would it just be a constant revolving? Whoever's empowered, the opposite side is constantly, now these are all the things that'll make you money, and these are the good actions. I don't know if that would, I think that's always going to be a tough process to implement in a real way, that someone doesn't figure out basically just how to abuse it and for their own, their own shtick. But again, I'm kind of with my faith in humanity is not particularly high either. So, I would love it if we all, because here's the thing, we'd already have an awesome society if people weren't douchebags. So I mean, it's like I don't think it's magically no one's figured out like, oh, if we just somehow all agreed and all did the right thing for the right reasons, we'd already be there. It's just that never happens. It's somebody is like, I want a little more. I want a little something extra.
If the countries of the world could pool their resources and work together, this could be an amazing world. But that will never happen. Hopefully someday.
Maybe. I don't know. As maybe we're too sarcastic. Maybe we're too bitter. I'm a bitter old man. Anyway. But I'm going to make sure we have something funny to talk about next week. We're going to talk about funny things. We're going to talk about poop and pee, and I'm going to do a bunch of comedian jokes. I'm going to look at comedian jokes. We're just going to talk about comedian jokes. All podcasts.
We can talk about comedians all podcasts. I could do that. I got a lot of favorite comedians we can talk about.
All right. Well, maybe that's what we'll do. Because, this it started off a little funny and lighthearted. And, now we're back in the
tones.
Too heavy, man. I get too heavy. I gotta stop this. Whatever we do, we always. It's my fault.
I think it's my fault.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's our fault. We kind of
Maybe
it's evil's fault.
Maybe it's my fault. I'm the conspiracy guy talking about doomsday and stuff, man.
No, Brody's uplifting. It's definitely not Brody's fault.
When Preacher asked me if I would do a podcast with him, he said I need some levity.
That is actually why that is 100. I was like, that's why I want to.
So you want me to be stupid funny?
Well, that's because me and Placebo we're similar in that instance. Like we do kind of like even when we're doing our own thing, we kind of get a little too heavy and deep, and that's kind of so. I was kind of like I need someone to like balance me because I will naturally just start to go down that path, and I need someone to keep me in the.
I like being down that rabbit hole too much. Mm-hmm. I like the death spiral. Right?
Yeah, I agree. I get it. I understand. No one understands it. That better be. I get it, man. Well, anyway, if you're still somehow around and you haven't, cried yourself to sleep by listening to our podcast, give us some topics. I mean, why not? Interact. Make comments. Be like, oh, I hate the Chiefs. Backwards hats are gay. Just whatever. Say something. Like the video and say something. Give us something to work with.
Say something.
Yes. Just comment something. But anyway, I guess that'll do it for this week. I promise we'll come back with some levity. Come back next week. Oh, we're gonna just make jokes and be silly. You're gonna be like, those guys made me feel good, and that's what we're gonna do. But until next week, kiss-ems. I do love all of you, especially you two, and you sleeping bastard over there. And I will tell. Goodbye.
Bye.
Follow me down. There's no one around. Lay back and take your socks and shoes right off. That natural light is so damn polite. Can make you feel just like you were young again. Standing underneath the rows of trees, I can see where the ocean meets the sky. Under our clothes, a fire grows. We are ready for this life of running wild. We're running wild. Underneath the rows of trees.